of the things that people kind of forget about is that just in the last, I would say 5-7 years, almost all hiring has gone into an online application that if you have a criminal record, you can't barely get hired anywhere. In the past, in the 70s, you might have been able to get out and talk to a manager, did a handshake deal. They look you in the eye and like, come on board, you know? It ain't like that anymore, period. You get blocked before it even starts. And I found that out. I have a possession of a controlled substance back in 2012. I'm not going to get into it, but that was really an unfortunate situation. But I got it. I was 27 and I got $100,000 college education. I'm thinking, people will be forgiving. This is a mistake I made. Nope. I couldn't even get hired at McDonald's, man. And that's not to put down anybody who works at McDonald's or anything. I'm just saying, from someone who was making $70,000 a year in corporate America to immediately going into a spot where I couldn't even get hired for a $7.25 an hour job pay back then. That was the biggest readjustment to my own self-image, self-concept. Like, what did I just do?
Too many rely on the what the computer says, okay, and not really delving into, well, what's their life now? How have they been doing? Get into if they were really interested in you, they should dig further. The problem is they're not doing that. Just saying, oh, look at that, goodbye.
It kills me inside that the therapeutic community is being phased out by policy and government. Yeah. Because the long-term therapeutic community was an excellent transition point for those leaving jail or prison. It saved my life. I'd been in jail a year. When I left, I had nothing. I had a trash bag. My license had just been suspended. I just got a felony. I had no money. I had credit card debt. And I called my family. They're like, hey, this is you're out of control. We don't want anything to do with you right now. The only option I had was to go into a therapeutic community. Well, those are going away now. There's less and less options. So people are going to have to be moving into halfway houses and sober living homes and structured environments, but there's only so many of those available.
The ones that we need are disappearing at a much quicker pace than I hate to admit.
Right. A lot of these individuals that are leaving the prison reentry program and any addiction recovery treatment program, the majority of them are moving back home to live with their family. Okay?
Yeah.
Primarily a mother, because it's typically a broken home and the father's not there. So now the mother is taking the child on, coming right out of jail. When I moved back home, within about a month, some of my old behaviors started coming up of me leaving dishes in the sink, not being appreciative for some of the stuff, not saying goodnight, mom, thanks. It just slowly crept in. And that is me being hyper-focused on my own transformation and a thing. And it happened with me. So I know that a guy's coming out of rehab or jail. The minute they get home, after they get acclimated, the old behavioral patterns start coming back. Arguments are going to happen. This is too much for me to deal with. I know which solves this problem: a drink, a drug, a pill, or whatever. And now we're back at it. And that's where this whole problem keeps going.
You've got the person that's coming out of a jail and someone that's coming out of recovery programs.
Yeah.
Okay. They're learning, they're going into these reentry classes to learn how to reintegrate back to society. But on the other side, the family side also need treatment as well to know how to deal with those coming out of that and transitioning into, a more functioning role within society.
Yeah.
Families also need help as well because they don't know what to do. They're coming at this like they did as if you had never gone to jail. You were still doing whatever it was, whatever nefarious deeds you were doing at the time. They're coming at this in the same attitude, the same mentality. Well, they also need
coaching and guidance as well. When I got out of rehab and I moved back home, That didn't mean my dad stopped drinking every day. My dad was a functioning alcoholic. He was a doctor, a surgeon that was a very successful. When I got out of rehab, he still was tying it on every other night, and all weekend. And hey, Kyle, you need to go to AA, but he was doing his thing. He didn't change. So sometimes it's just the parents. Sometimes the parents need to change too. Okay.
Yes,
and that's the thing. And we need to take responsibility individually and as a family, and we're all going to learn and grow together. And then that's a real statement. Go ahead.
With us coming out of prison or a recovery program, we're having to own up to ourselves. Okay. And in the same token, our family members also need to do the same thing. And there's, as far as I know, and you would know better than I, but as far as I know of, there is no such thing of dual recovery with both who's coming out and the family, having to adjust to them coming out, How are we supposed to act around it? As far as I know, there is no program that takes care of both sides. And there needs to be a place where both sides are both getting coached. The family members know, okay, I can't do this for the time being because they just got out. That they also need tools. And there is no place anywhere in the United States that I know of that takes care of both sides.
Honestly, I built the parents course on my website that shows parents how to properly administer drug tests, set up a structured environment that came right out of the research from 40 years of research within sober living homes, how to expedite probation or maintain compliance with your parole and probation officers. There's a bunch of great content in there. And they also can onboard into my private focus group where they can ask me questions. So that parents course on my website is excellent. And I think it's $97 or something. And that is going to save lives in the future and a lot of arguments as well.
I totally agree. To take it further on the parent side, and it's, you've got that part in regards to someone coming out of a recovery program, but there needs to be also a section for those coming out of prison. Because in a way it's the same, but in a way it's different, each side. And there needs to be an area for those coming out of prisons. What do the parents do? What do the families do? How do they need to react when they're there? They also need the tools.
Okay, so the unifying thing, the overlap, is that there's going to have to be an enhanced level of structure and the willingness to be fully transparent, right, with each other, because we got to rebuild trust. So that's what the parents course is about. It shows how to, create structure in the home, gain consent between everyone in the family, and then maintain compliance and transparency, at least to whether the person is abstinent from alcohol and other drugs. That's important, So,
right.
And that part is the overlap. The other stuff is how you guide parents in different situations and the service delivery. Everybody's a little different and some of their financial things are different, but you made a great point. A lot of it is overlap, and the things that are different can be addressed in the program later on inside the school. Like for you've touched on, you had a rough childhood. I didn't really have a rough childhood. So maybe if you're talking to a woman or a young kid who had a rough childhood, they might relate to you a lot better on certain things. And they might go into the healing center and talk about adverse childhood experiences and dealing with some of the stuff back then. With me, they might be looking more for strategic planning and coaching. If they will need a mentor, another recovery mentor, that's there too. So this is a unique thing, and I'm really excited about just how this thing's going to unfold.
Both of us have been at the bottom of the ladder, having gone to jail, having extensive addictions, having lost it all, having to rebuild it all over again for the umpteenth time.
Yep.
We want to be able to help as many as we can and cover as much as we can. Why? Because it's needed. That's why. Yep. There isn't anything out there that can cater to a lot of people, where people can get help from the safety of their own home. When you're out in a clinical setting, you have to be here this time, this location, this place. Blah,
It
blah,
disrupts.
blah,
It
blah.
disrupts the lifestyle. The parents, I've talked to them. The parents are like, "Hey, I have to take off work for 2 weeks leave early on Wednesday and Friday for the next 2 weeks from my job to drive my son to intensive outpatient or whatever. I can't afford it. I can't do it. It's stressing me out." So yeah, this is a great venue in that regard, and just to kind of finish it up with this, my research into the Surgeon General's report, Addiction Facing America, where they said preventative interventions and relapse prevention is the greatest developmental priority of both community and economy of our time. It affects everyone. Anyone can get involved in this, and this is going to be a great opportunity for social impact financing to, hey, sponsor a loved one in need, sponsor a community mentor, give them the gift of long-term guidance and recovery. I'm just excited about it, and I'm glad you're on board, and I'm glad we had a great conversation.
When we talked back in March, initially when all this got started, and you were telling me your vision, your vision, and I thought, you know what, it's perfect, because I tell all people, if you want to find something to help others out, it's got to be something that's not out there right now. And this, your model, what you have set up, is perfect. It fills the niche and the need, most importantly. So yeah, when you told me your vision, I thought, perfect. I'm all on board completely. And my thing is, if I could just help one person, then I did well. But if I can help more than one,
and we're going to scale this thing to the moon. It's going to be part of my legacy, my life work, and then everybody else that comes on it, they're going to get to put their life mission, add their additional energy and knowledge to it, and it can be a collective mission for us all. Remember, I said we're here to uplift the human condition and teach people how to heal and transcend the generational patterns of trauma, addiction, and maladaptive behavior.